Hello and welcome to Ada Financials presents The Secrets of Using a Corporation or LLC. Start, grow, and profit. You may have heard about the benefits of incorporating or using an LLC to grow your business, but there's so much industry jargon and legal verbiage out there, and you may still have multiple questions about forming a corporation or an LLC. Also, if you already have a corporation or LLC, how can it benefit you and how can you produce maximum results from it? This webinar focuses on navigating the rivers of incorporating your business and to understand the differences between C corporations, S corporations, LLCs, and how to avoid the 6 mistakes people make when forming an LLC or a corporation, and most importantly, to keep your money and how to put a defensible shield around your assets. We'll also talk a little bit about how to take control of your taxes, how to deduct, document, and defend yourself. We also talk about how to attain the maximum asset and liability protection for your business. There's a lot of benefits out there available to you through the right business entity that fits your business criteria. So let's dive in. Today we have here Aaron Young from Laughlin Associates to talk about these things with us. Laughlin has been an industry leader, and it's a one-stop compliance center. Over the past 44 years, they have helped form about 80,000 companies, and they've also helped all of these companies stay in compliance. With the complete corporate whale protection program, you can assure that your corporate records will be up to date, in order, and squeaky clean. Aaron Young is a lifelong entrepreneur and a trusted advisor to business owners and executives. He is the creator of the Unshackled Owner, a program for entrepreneurs who want to build a business that works harder for them than they have to work for it. Aaron is also the chairman or CEO of Laughlin Associates. Welcome, Aaron.
We are very happy to have Aaron Young here with us today from Laughlin Associates. We have been working with Laughlin for the past few months, and we've had such a wonderful experience. We've learned so many good things. And Aaron, the first time I think we heard you was during Note Camp 3.0 that Carson had presented. And we were completely blown away by some of the things that you shared on the webinar, and we thought it would be great if everyone knew some of the things that you're going to be talking about today. And I am so glad you're here today. Welcome.
Well, it's great to be great to be with your people. And you might want to mute so my voice isn't coming back through your microphone. But
sure.
Would you like me to just go ahead and get started, or do you have anything else you'd like to cover?
Nope, you can get started. I'm going to mute myself now.
Great. Okay, guys. Well, hi, welcome. It's nice to be here with you. We're going to talk today a little bit about building a corporate fortress, about how to really get the most value out of your corporation or LLC. Sometimes we call this the secrets of using a corporation or LLC. Let me just start off by saying I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a CPA, and so what I'm going to teach you today is coming from a business person's perspective. I've been in business for 35 years, and Laughlin's been in business for 46 years, and I took over the company back in 2001. Anyway, but I just want to be clear. A lot of people think because our name sounds kind of like a law firm that we are, but we're not. So anything that you hear, if you have a question mark about it, I encourage you to seek out your own attorney, your own CPA, and just cross-check those things So make sure that you feel really good about what's going on. Laughlin does a lot of things. We form corporations, C corps, S corps, limited liability companies. We set up foundations and trusts and all kinds of other things. We need to make sure everyone is muted, because I hear some other things coming in. Except for not me. I'm now muted by the host. Can you hear me, Patty?
I just realized I muted myself, so you couldn't hear me saying yes.
And you muted me. So anyway, no, it's all right. Let's keep going. So we form corporations. We help people with lawsuit protection planning, estate planning, exit planning, corporate compliance, trademarks, all those kinds of business services are the things that we do. If you're wondering if this hour is going to be well spent, really here's some criteria. You're in the right place if you're building a portfolio. Maybe you're building a real estate portfolio, an investment portfolio, or even a business where you're setting up businesses. If you've built wealth, like you're maybe at the place where you're more of an investor than an operator. You've built wealth and you're unwilling to lose those businesses, that portfolio. You're unwilling to lose that wealth. If you want to make sure that you're protected, you're in the right place. We work with a lot of people. I have a personal goal to help 10,000 entrepreneurs every year achieve real success in their business and build real companies, not just glorified jobs, but real businesses. 10,000 companies. So you guys are part of that effort that I'm making to help. And today what you're going to learn is how to reduce your risk while you actually can have greater rewards in your business. We're going to teach you the law, the thing that's required by law, that over 90% of businesses are breaking that law, and they usually don't even know that they're breaking it. And we're going to show you how to make your corporation LLC into a real, fully developed, a legitimate business, not just your alter ego, but a real, properly organized business entity, which most of them are not. We won't worry about those risk cards. Okay. And here's what I'll tell you. If you will just experiment on the things that I teach you today, you will increase your risk, not your risk, your wealth, and reduce your risk, both of an audit and a lawsuit. Matter of fact, most of our clients are able to stop lawsuits before they even start because they've got everything in place that they need to have in place, which discourages commission-based lawyers. And why am I the guy teaching it? Well, I'm the chairman, CEO of Laughlin. As I said, we've been in business since 1972. We have tens of thousands of clients right now that use the service that we're going to talk about. We've helped over 200,000 individuals set up their companies. 87% retention rate of our clients. Our clients, once they become a client, they stay a client. And we work with hundreds of law firms and accounting firms and business coaches and so on to help their clients be safe, be protected, have their things done right. So that's how I'm qualified. And then people have asked me, what's your why, Aaron? Why do you teach this stuff? Well, here's the thing. I have a great life. This is my family. This is me up riding a horse. We raise Tennessee walking horses. There are two over there on the bottom left-hand corner, two of my, actually both pictures. There's a horrible picture of my family on the right. I need to change that picture out. But there's a beautiful picture of my little grandson and granddaughter. And now we have a third grandchild. That little boy with the star glasses on now is the big brother to what is she? Is she 2 months or 1 month old? 1 month old little baby, beautiful little baby Hayden. So anyway, this is the stuff that I love. This is what drives me to build my business, to go out and do things. And the relationship that I have with my family and the way I want to take care of them, and having gone through some challenges, which I'll tell you about, really taught me how important it is to help all my clients have the same opportunity to protect their families, to do the right things for their families, to make sure that that their families can be safe, or the other things that matter. And here's why. Back in 2003, I found myself embroiled in a lawsuit. The government had come to talk to me about someone we had worked with before, another company, and they asked a bunch of questions, and I gladly answered all the questions. We had stopped several years before working with these folks, and even though I liked them, I just thought they were a little bit slippery for me, so we'd stopped working with them. But so anyway, I answered all these questions, and 4 months after I answered all the questions, I was indicted. And they indicted me on conspiracy charges. They said I knew or should have known what this other company had allegedly done. And I thought that was crazy. So we went to battle. We fought for three and a half years, spent a little over $2 million in legal fees, and finally realized that this was an IRS case. The IRS was looking into this other company. You just can't beat the IRS. You guys, yeah, make sure you mute your phone, guys. Anyway, you can't beat the IRS. So after a couple $1 million in legal fees, we finally gave up, took a plea bargain, and I found myself in federal prison. This is a picture of the place I was, the Sheridan, Oregon Federal Correctional Institution. And I don't know about you, but that was never on my dream board. That was never something I'd planned to do. But there I was, and we had to deal with that. Now, the government looked at a lot of my assets. They wondered about a lot of my things. They even thumped their chest a lot about things. But when they looked over everything, they came to the conclusion that all the businesses were set up. So they never did freeze any bank accounts. They never tried to close any companies. They never tried to do any of that. So we were safe because everything was organized properly. And even though I had to go off, and my business partner, to prison, you should understand there was no restitution, there was no fine, there was no anything. They just wanted time from us. So off we went, and Lee and I both went off to federal prison. And let me go back there and just show you the conclusion of that story. So we were there for 14 months and 1 week. 14 months and 1 week. And the thing that was amazing to me was that we were able to survive that whole thing because we had taken the steps to do things properly from the beginning. And, that was a picture of my family there. So there are 3 critical steps when you're trying to protect what you've been working for, okay? There's the first thing you have to do is you have to identify your risk. You have to acknowledge that there's risk being in business, acknowledge that there are challenges, acknowledge that if you're an investor, especially in real estate, it's not if you're going to get sued, it's when you're going to get sued. There's going to be people that are unhappy. Anytime you go out and engage with the public, there's just built-in inherent risk that comes with that. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, anyone can tell you the risk. An entrepreneur sees the reward. And you guys all understand that. Entrepreneurs see opportunities, and they kind of can put blinders on to the risk. And most of us think, oh, we're nice people. We're not doing anything wrong. We're not a big company. We're not some big, pharmaceutical company or electronics company. So we're just, it's just me doing my thing. I'm not really at risk. Well, a lot of times that's fooling ourselves, because you ought to know statistically, every 22 seconds, there's a lawsuit filed against a small business. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce says small business spends $1.05 billion a year on average defending themselves from frivolous litigation. And the vast majority of those lawsuits are very small companies. Okay? And as I said, just getting involved in the world, just going out and being involved in business at all, there's just risk. It could come from any of the things you see on here. You could have a partnership divorce, a personal, a spousal divorce, bankruptcy. Hiring and firing is really risky. There are people that will sue you because you didn't hire them, and they'll claim that you were discriminating against them in some way. I've raised 5 teenage drivers. All of them hit stuff with the car. Well, that's risk. And sometimes when that individual that got bumped into finds out that mom or dad doesn't just have State Farm insurance, but they also own a company or own a bunch of real estate or have significant investments, all of a sudden, that, oh my gosh, my neck really hurts. Oh my gosh, my back really hurts. You guys, risk is there. And when you're in business and when you're discoverable like that, it's just true. We face all kinds of risks. So the real issue isn't that we're going to have risk. The issue is, what do we do to mitigate the risk so that we can play full out and have the big benefit from our companies without having to hide or hunker back because we're worried about what might happen. Now, there's a question that is posed to me pretty regularly. So, Aaron, if there's so much risk, why are so many corporation and LLC owners continuing to put themselves at risk? Why do they keep doing it? Well, part of the answer is kind of simple. Most people have never been taught what I'm going to teach you. Most people have never learned the laws that are required to follow and the procedures that the law says you must do if you have a corporation or an LLC. And that could be a nonprofit, it could be a benefits corporation, it could be a C Corp, an S Corp. Even LLCs, even one-member LLCs have certain responsibilities in the law, but most of you guys have never even heard of what you're supposed to do. So let me ask you a question. Why did you set up your corporation or LLC in the first place? Was it because somebody told you should do it? Was it because your friend had done it? Did you want to have lower taxes, or you wanted some kind of asset protection? Maybe it felt cool to be able to say, I'm president of this company. Estate planning is a good reason for people to form entities because corporations don't die. They just get new officers. They get a new board of directors. So from an estate planning perspective, using business entities is really good. So you probably formed your corporation or LLC with the expectation that you'd get a certain level of a buffer, some lawsuit protection and additional tax deductions. So my question is, and you don't have to answer this, we're going to go through this over this hour, will your LLC, will your C Corp or S Corp actually protect you if you're ever challenged? Will it, if you get examined, if you get audited, if you get sued, if you go through, even if you're trying to raise money and bring in some outside equity investors, they're all going to want to review your documents. And the question is, will you be ready for that, or will you be completely unprepared like most people? Here's Mark Blankenship of Blankenship Investment. At first, I wasn't sure what to expect, but after my first session, I was impressed. I would give a higher rating than 10 if possible. Laughlin was extremely helpful and knowledgeable, digging deep, finding things that I would have never thought about or known. I'm definitely going to be with you guys for a while. I appreciate the extreme professionalism as well. Thanks so much for helping me get my small business where it needs to be. It's the guy that's got an investment group. Warren Buffett says risk really comes from not knowing what you're doing. So when you know what you're doing, your level of risk goes way, way, way down. Susan Ward, I decided to become an LLC. She formed an LLC because I owned property. I owned real estate, and I thought of it being taken away if I was sued was a scary thought. Also, it gave me my company a professional image. These are some of the reasons why people do it, and they've identified the risk. They've seen, okay, I'm in business. There's inherent risk with that, and so I want to be able to form a corporation or an LLC. Many of you listening, and we'll find out near the end, many or all of you have probably already done this. So good. So then what was the reason for it, and are you really getting the value that you've been paying for from that entity? That's what we're trying to figure out over this hour. Critical step number 2, you want to take full advantage of what's available to you. In other words, you want to get all of the bang for your buck from that LLC or C Corp or S Corp that you can possibly get. Okay, so let's ask another question. Why did you set up your business in the first place? Some of us set up businesses just because, we were sick of doing some task. We knew how to make cupcakes. We were working for a bakery. We decided, hey, I can make my own cupcakes in my own bakery, or I can do my own computer programming, or I can do my own electrician work, or I can do my own whatever. Or maybe you got in business. Maybe you said, hey, I've got some money saved up here. I'm going to get into the real estate business, and I'm going to be a real estate investor and have a bunch of rental properties, and that's going to be my retirement plan. Or Maybe, whatever reason. You ask yourself, why did you do it? What was the outcome you were hoping for? What was the dream? I'll tell you this, the government of the United States loves entrepreneurs. They know that entrepreneurs are the backbone of this country. In the most recent statistics that we have, which are actually about 3 years old, 82.6% of all new jobs created in the United States, 82.6% were created by companies considered small business, 100 employees or less. Okay, 82.6 of all new jobs were created by small companies. 86% of gross domestic product, GDP, 86% of GDP was created by companies of 50 employees or less. Most corporations have 10 employees or less. That is where the rubber really meets the road in this country. And the government has said, look, if you follow the rules, if you're set up properly and you follow the rules, you can start taking all kinds of tax deductions, get tax credits. We'll protect you from people that are coming after you when you follow the rules. You got to follow the rules. But most of us never learn the rules. See, the amazing thing is when you know the rules, you can live a huge part of your life with pre-tax money. Things that you are used to spending after-tax money on, you can often pay for out of your business. It's got to be ordinary and necessary, but you'd be amazed at the things that are appropriate that you can be spending pre-tax dollars on. As a matter of fact, a financial guru that I know said one time, individuals get taxed and companies take deductions. So your world can dramatically shift once you've learned how to follow the rules and getting all the benefits from your corporation. So what we know is being a business owner equals getting huge benefits. I mean, huge benefits. But with those big benefits come responsibilities. And the biggest mistake we see is that people don't learn those responsibilities. What does it cost you if you do it wrong? I gave you the one statistic from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, right? $1.05 billion if you do it wrong. Getting crushed in an audit if you do it wrong. If you want to do it right, it all begins with separation. The key is separating you, the shareholder, you, the member of the LLC, from that corporation or LLC. See, you can be an owner without the company becoming your alter ego. Most of us that set up our own businesses and are kind of the chief cook and bottle washer, we think of it all as that's my stuff, that's my truck, that's my computer, that's my rental house, that's my, cleaning supplies, that's my stuff. The key to getting safety and protection is separation. Okay? What do all three common business entities have in common? Whether you're a limited liability company, a C Corp, or an S Corp, what do they all have in common? What does the law require of all of them? The government, the law of the land says you must keep corporate formalities. If you're a C Corp, S Corp, or LLC, you're required by law to document your major business decisions, major things that the company does. You do this in the form of, you do this during board meetings. The biggest mistake, remember we have tens of thousands of clients that we do this work with. The biggest mistake that I see corporation owners or LLC owners make is their failure to document their business decisions. When they don't document their business decisions, then if they're ever examined in a lawsuit, in an audit, in a bankruptcy court, in a divorce or whatever, all the protection that you were supposed to get goes out the window. Many of the deductions that you were taking that were corporate deductions go out the window because the government will say, nope, you weren't acting like a separate entity. You were treating that company, you're treating that LLC, you're treating that corporation as your alter ego. Your alter ego. This is what happens. What I need you to learn is this little expression. If all you learn from me in this hour is this thing right here, I will be successful. Here it is. I am not the corporation. The corporation is not me. I am not the corporation. The corporation is not me. I'd love it if you would, just to yourself, I don't need to hear it, but just to yourself, I dare you to say those words to yourself. I am not the corporation, or I am not the LLC, and it's not me. Okay? Folks, when you figure this part out, you start making smarter decisions. You start acting like a real business. If you have formed a business entity, but your corporate records are not in order, they don't exist, or they're not up to date, and if you ever get sued or audited, all of the liability protection you wanted, all the tax benefits you thought you had, poof, they're gone, stripped away, disappeared. Now, let me give you some other statistics. 57% of lawsuits that are filed, remember I said every 22 seconds there's a lawsuit filed in the United States. 57% of those are filed against companies making $1 million or less. Those are the small companies. That's Main Street. That's the little boutique, the hair salon, the roofer, the restaurant, the small companies, the Main Street businesses. 57% of all companies or all lawsuits are filed against small companies making $1 million or less. What about audits? Audits are, during the Obama administration, let me just give you a little more information. During the Obama administration, and I'm not saying this is good or bad, I'm not saying this is a problem, I'm just saying this is the truth. $1.4 billion were specifically earmarked from the administration to the IRS to hire more revenue agents and increase the number of audits. They hired in excess of 13,000 new revenue agents and kicked up the rate of audits. And here's what's interesting. Audits against companies of $5 million and higher of revenue, so $5 million or bigger, audits are actually down against those companies by 22%. Companies $5 million or smaller, which is almost everybody, audits are up 38% from what they were before. So why? Why are more little companies sued? Why are more little companies audited? Well, I can tell you why. Because small companies fly by the seat of their pants. They don't follow the rules. They're just very busy on trying to, make payroll, get that next deal, fulfill, finish whatever they're supposed to be doing, getting in the next sale. That's what they're doing. They don't have a lot of outside help. They don't have an in-house counselor or a lawyer on retainer. They use, Uncle Fred or their niece, Jenny, to do their taxes, or they use TurboTax. They take deductions, but they don't have documentation to back those up, and the government understands this. And so small companies are the ones they come after, and you get creamed. And if they come back and say, we're going to disallow some of these deductions, not only do you have to pay those deductions, but you pay 45% penalty as well. So we're going to disallow $100,000, and then we're going to charge you another $45,000 penalty. Okay, that's a bad day. All right? It's a bad day. We don't want you to do that. I don't know if you've heard of the expression piercing the corporate veil. Basically what it is your combatant, the person who's coming after you, wants to blow right through the company and get to you. So they want to get everything in the company and everything you've got as well. That's called piercing the corporate veil. In other words, the veil is supposed to stop people from getting through the business into you. Or let's say you got into a really bad car accident. It's supposed to stop a problem from going through you and into the business. Those two things, you and the company, are supposed to be separated, but because of the lackadaisical way most people operate, piercing the corporate veil has become easy. Wake Forest Law Review wrote this: piercing the corporate veil has become the most litigated issue in corporate law today. In every case, the plaintiff's intent is to acquire the personal assets and the business assets of the company, and at least half of the time they win. Piercing the corporate veil is the most litigated issue in corporate law today, and there's a new lawsuit every 22 seconds, and 57% of those lawsuits are against small companies. So I want you to be thinking about, does any of this stuff apply to you? All right? I've told you why small corporations and LLCs are at the greatest risk, because they don't follow the rules. So what do we need to be doing? Well, first of all, you need to start having board meetings. You need to have at least quarterly, if not more often, board meetings. And a board meeting basically has two parts. First, you talk about stuff, and then you write down whatever you talked about in minutes. So at this day, at this place, these people or this one person came together and talked about all this stuff. Okay? Minutes are required by law. You need to have board meetings. You must keep minutes. And then whatever you decide on, those are called resolutions. Resolutions are effectively a permission slip from the board of directors to the president. Now, you may be saying to yourself, hey, Aaron, this sounds right. I totally get it. I've seen movies and TV shows and maybe even sat on boards where there's a bunch of people. But in my company, I'm the only owner. I'm the only board member. I'm the most critical employee. I'm the shareholder, the chairman of the board, and the president. Okay. Even if that's true, you still are all three things, and you have to wear those hats appropriately. The only time it matters that you're the owner really is once a year when you re-elect your board of directors. The board of directors, which may still be you, the board of directors' job is to set the direction, make sure the business is going where it needs to go. And then the president, which is a hired employee, the president, or if you're an LLC, the manager, their job is to carry out the wishes of the board of directors. So those are the positions. So a resolution says the board of directors decided on something, and now we're telling the president, go do it. Okay? So if you're going to follow the rules, you've got to hold meetings regularly. As a matter of fact, if many of you won't even have an operating agreement, if you went online and bought something, for the cheapest possible price you could, or you went onto your Secretary of State's website and downloaded, filed, and basically you got your articles of incorporation or your LLC documents. But you're required to have an operating agreement or in a LLC, or to have bylaws in a corporation. And those will tell you that you need to hold a board meeting and pass resolutions at or near the time of any major decision. And in small companies, there are lots of major decisions being made. So a monthly board meeting is reasonable. You might think it's silly, but it's not silly if you're following the law. I'm not saying the law isn't counterintuitive. I'm just saying it's the law. So you can not agree with it all you want, to your own peril. But I'm suggesting that you just consider what I'm teaching you and see if maybe there are ways for you to step your game up a little bit and really make your business a little bit more legitimate, a little bit more complete. Remember I talked about that separation is the key. The only thing that proves you and the business are separated are those board meetings and resolutions, the stuff, and also issuing stock or membership. Those are the things that prove your business is real. So right now, how many of you are feeling like you're really getting all the advantages of your corporation or LLC? Or maybe have you left out some of the steps that would give you the benefits that you were hoping for when you started paying for things? I need you to bear with me for 1 second.
Max's got a real problem. He can't get into the hotel. They won't let him check in because he doesn't have the card. He came over here, but now he can't afford to park because he doesn't have any money at all. What do you want me to do with him? I can give him some cash and I'll give him money.
Sorry guys, we're traveling and we've got team coming into place, and here he'll.
Do you know which credit card you used?
Have him wait here.
He can't park.
Of course, he can park here. Tell him to put it on a room. Just tell him we're valeting the car. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I really apologize for that. But we have our team member and they can't get in, so I had to answer the question. So, how many of you feel like you actually are getting the value that you were hoping for? A lot of people say, well, Aaron, I don't know if this really applies to me because I'm brand new. I just incorporated. Or I'll never get audited. I mean, why would anybody pay attention to my little dinky company? Why is it a big deal? Nobody's ever going to look at my corporate record book. I mean, I'm just a small business. I'm not really doing anything wrong. Nobody's after me. Nobody's going to sue me. I'm a nice person. Believe me, I never believed I would go to prison. I went to prison because I thought I was helping the FBI. And instead, all I did was end up causing huge problems for my company and my family by just trying to do the right thing. Saying nobody's going to sue you is wrong. I have an LLC. Somebody told me I don't have to file formalities if I'm an LLC. Well, here's the deal. That statutorily is correct, but now 49 of the 50 states, all but South Carolina, have agreed that even one-member LLCs need to keep minutes and pass resolutions. I could give you a whole long story about why. Just trust me when I tell you that case law, which supersedes statutory law, in 49 of the 50 states says LLCs, even one-member LLCs, have to keep regular board meetings, minutes, resolutions. Some people say, I have my lawyer maintain my corporate documents. To which I say, how do I say this politely? That's a bunch of bunk. Because I'll tell you what, I've been working with small business owners, and I've been a small business owner for 35 years, and here's what I know. Most of us don't have lawyers. We don't even like lawyers. Now, you may have a friend who's a lawyer, a family member who's a lawyer, somebody at church, or somebody, one of the parents from your kid's Little League team who's a lawyer, but you don't have a lawyer in most cases. So when you say, I'll have my lawyer do my documents, I know you're just stalling, because the other thing I know is we get referrals from over 100 law firms every month because they don't want to do your corporate documents. They don't want to help you with board meetings. They don't want to be involved with minutes and resolutions. They don't want that work. That's why they don't solicit for it. They will pass it off to a company like us because they know it needs to be done. You won't do it, and they don't want to do it, so they'll pass it off to us. When you say, well, I'm going to do it my way, whatever, that's fine. Some people are do-it-yourselfers, which by the way, I think is totally fair and reasonable and great. So you say, okay, Aaron, I get it. I know I need to have regular meetings. I'm going to keep minutes of those meetings. I'm going to pass resolutions. I'm going to do it. I don't need any help with this. I can do it myself. And I salute you for that. I think that is a very brave way to go. So one of the problems with doing it yourself is you don't even know the almost 300 items that are common items that need to be documented in the form of a board resolution. How can you do records for things you don't even know you're supposed to do? That's all right. I've grabbed a very, very small, very partial list of the most common resolutions, things that need to be memorialized in a board resolution at or near the time of the decision. And you guys, I think there'll be a replay, so you'll be able to go back and look at this, but I'll just let you see this, and maybe you can take notes really fast. You see what I'm talking about? These are just the very, very most common. Changing CPAs, opening a bank account, deciding to get medical reimbursement, getting, leasing a vehicle, purchasing a vehicle, taking a car allowance, changing your salary. All these things need board resolutions. All of them. So here's the important question. Are you in compliance? Are you following the rules? Over 90% of the people that we meet are not. Don't feel any shame in it. Just understand that now you've been taught what needs to be done. Now you never have to be out of compliance again. Up until now, you were out of compliance, but now you've learned because you showed up here today, and now we can start getting it figured out. Cornell Law Review says if you failed to keep proper corporate records and if you're ever sued, you have a 50 to 94% chance of losing your personal assets to satisfy the business judgment. 50 to 94% chance of losing your personal stuff to satisfy that business judgment. So step number 3 is this. You must build a fortress around your personal and business assets. You've learned now what needs to be done, so now you need to do it. Okay? So how do we do it? Well, if you're wringing your hands or the hair's up on the back of your neck, when I do this live, people actually tear up. They cry. No matter where you are or how far behind you are, don't worry. It's always fixable, at least until it's no longer fixable. No longer fixable because you're in the throes of a lawsuit or an audit. You know, your partnership is breaking up, your marriage is breaking up. Now it's too late to fix this stuff. But if the waters are calm, you can fix it. You can go back many years. We do this with all kinds of people. We go back, 8 years, 10 years, and get things caught up. All right? So what are my options, right? What are my options? What do I do now? Why am I on this webinar? Well, the options are pretty simple. You can either do it yourself, add this to your plate, something else you have to learn about and do, or you can let us do it for you. You can let us remove this stress and make sure that it's done properly and easily, completely done for you. And basically, if you're willing to get on the phone with our people for 5 minutes a month, you will get all of this caught up and current. And I'm going to show you in a minute, but you're going to be surprised how inexpensive it is. The main thing is you have to decide, am I going to do this or am I going to keep blowing it off? If I'm going to keep blowing it off, who cares? Good luck. It's like driving 100 miles an hour through a school zone every day. It never really matters until you get caught. Now, if you don't want to blow it off, then you either have to do it yourself or you can hire somebody like us who does it for tens of thousands of companies to do it. So what is the Corporate Veil Protection Service? What is this thing that we do for all these thousands and thousands of companies? We are kind of like your board of directors secretary, right? So we maintain your corporate formalities. We consolidate all the records from the various years, get them all streamlined into a good corporate history. We go back 5 years in our basic program and up to 10 years in our what we call our platinum program. And the goal of all this, or not the goal, what the result is to reduce your risk of having the veil pierced by the IRS, the courts, creditors, or any other legal ne'er-do-well who wants to come after you and redistribute your wealth. And when I say reduce the risk, I'm going to tell you when you have to do more than just sign up for the program. You have to actually let us work with you, and then we have to get the work done. But once the work is done, you are safe. Your veil will not be pierced. We've been doing this for a long time, and nobody's veil has ever been pierced who's ever used this service, even though there have been hundreds of them that have been sued or audited. We have a very large client base. This Corporate Veil Protection Service maintains your corporate records, keeps you in good standing in the eyes of the law, creates a corporate history, helps you be ready to bring in new partners or raise capital or even to exit your company. You want to sell the business. Remember I told you nobody's veil has been pierced? Well, we back that up with our $125,000 corporate guarantee. We have over 100,000 satisfied customers who've used this. We say that, look, if you've done the service, not just paid for it, but worked with us and we've gotten you caught up, we'll do our part, I promise. It's really up to you to come on. But if you do that, and if you're ever sued or audited and they pierce your corporate veil, we'll pay up to $125,000 of legal and accounting costs because our guarantee is your veil won't be pierced. The reason I can give that guarantee is because in all the coming up on 2 decades we've been doing this, 0 corporate veils have ever been pierced by people who have used the program. When you follow the law, when you follow the rules, it will protect you. When you ignore them, you have no promise. You're floating in the wind. All right? Sarah McAllister, we were hot and heavy in the middle of a big real estate deal. Without Laughlin, we would have been stumbling all over ourselves trying to get the documents done versus staying focused on the deal. Then I love this. You have the best staff I've ever interacted with at any time. That makes me so happy. I do have phenomenal employees. So here's how easy it is. If you want to do this, it's $255 down and 11 payments of $80 a month, or you can just full pay it for $9.95. Here's what I'd love you guys to do. You're all doing this on a computer. Open up another tab on your browser and type in Corp, C-O-R-P, Corp Veil Protection, V-E-I-L, corpveilprotection.com. corpveilprotection.com. Open that up. All you have to do is click right there and say, yep, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in doing it. I know I need somebody to help me get my corporate records in order. I don't want to be losing everything in a lawsuit or an audit. I don't want my personal stuff taken to satisfy a corporate judgment. I don't want to do that. corpveilprotection.com. And then choose installments or full pay. It's a little cheaper if you full pay, but let me give you a really interesting little piece of information. If you do the installments, we actually report those payments in a positive way. We don't show bad payments, but we report to the Corporate Credit Bureau. I think it's TransUnion. But there's a Corporate Credit Bureau that if you don't specifically make an effort to build corporate credit, it won't happen automatically. But if you get engaged in building corporate credit, then pretty soon you're not having to be a personal guarantor on things. And we can help you build that corporate credit if you do the installment plan. So yes, it will cost a tiny bit more, but you'll get that. So what else can I offer you today? So I'm going to offer you several things if you sign up today. First of all, you're going to get the Corporate Veil Protection Plan. That's $9.95. I want to give you 2 tickets to our twice-a-year event. It's called the Magnify Your Wealth Summit. We do it in May and normally in November, although I did just get asked to look at some October dates. But anyway, in the spring and in the fall, we do it. It's a 3-day action-packed, high-level business training. There's no selling from the stage. It's just like a fire hose of information to teach you how to build your wealth. If you've got a little money, how to have more money. If you got a lot of money, how to have big money. How to protect it. What are other ways that you can be holding it? What about foundations? What about trusts? What about all those kinds of things? So I'd like to offer you tickets to that event. And Laughlin Academy. This other one, 24 live freedom calls, actually was not supposed to be in there. But that's okay. We'll do it. If you sign up today, I do something that is separate from Laughlin called the Freedom Call. Twice a month, I come online on the video conference, and I teach a business lesson for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then I open up the phones or the software for questions, and we have hundreds of people that do that. But anyway, because I didn't look at my slides, you're going to get that too. So you get the Corporate Veil Protection Program, you get 2 tickets to the event, you can get 24 live freedom calls, and you can also get lifetime access to Laughlin's membership site called Laughlin Academy, where we have tons of ebooks and webinars and cheat sheets and all of my books in digital form there. Everything's there. We charge $3.99 a year for that. You'll get that included because you were here today. And I'm not kidding. You'll also get the freedom calls, which is something. This was for the last time I gave a live presentation. So anyway, that's nice. For those of you that are going to make a choice to protect your business, you're also going to find out how to really, really grow your business. So if you want to do it, it's as simple as just saying yes by going to Corp Veil Protection, choosing what you want to do. Or if you have questions, you can call the office. Here, write the number down. If you're going, I don't know, I want to talk to somebody first, call 775-883-8484. 775-883-8484. It is 10 minutes to 4 Pacific time. The office is on Pacific time, so it's open for another hour and 10 minutes. And so if you want to ask questions, you can do that. The other thing I want to offer to you guys is anybody that's kind of going, boy, I think I have a more complicated situation than this. I need to really understand how to deal with several companies that I have, or you need somebody to help you think this stuff through. I want to offer all of you a free consultation with our consultation staff at Laughlin. Again, call 775-883-8484. Tell them that you were on this webinar and that Aaron Young, who's their boss, just said that that's where they're going to get, and this will be fine for today. Or if you watch this on the replay, you can call in on Friday or Monday and talk to somebody. Okay, so free consultation for it. So if you want to get started right away, it's $255 now. 11 payments of $80 a month. Oh, what happens next year? So on month 13, that drops to $49 a month. Okay? What if you have more than one company? Well, if you have more than one company, the first company is $995. The second company is $595 or $599, $600 basically. So yes, you do get an advantage for having more than one business, and that is what we want to do. But I want to encourage you guys to go to Corp Veil Protection, make a choice, and then do it. If you want to talk to somebody first, call right now, 775, as soon as we're done, 775-883-8484. You know, a lot of people wrote in with questions, and I reviewed those with Patty, and the conclusion that we came to is most of the questions were pretty specific to individual situations. So what I'd love you to do is just call the office, get on the phone with one of our consultants. You don't have to buy anything. We have people that call and ask questions for years before they ever decide to pull the trigger. Our goal is to make sure you're trained, you're educated, you know exactly what you're doing, so that when you decide it's time, that you know exactly what you're doing. Or if you're way down the road already and you're going, this thing has gotten ahead of me, get on with our people. There's no charge for the consultation. And if we have something that'll benefit you, they'll offer it to you, but you don't have any obligation to buy. But if you know right now that your corporate records are either non-existent or woefully behind, and you don't want to run the risk of losing everything you're building in a lawsuit or an audit or bankruptcy, then I encourage you to go now to corpveilprotection.com and let's get started. Patty, that's the end. That's what I've got today.
Wow, this is really great. Thank you so much, Aaron, for the presentation. And I can really vouch for this because as I've mentioned before, we've been working with Laughlin over the past few months, and we've been working with, I think, Debbie Cook, and also she has been so very helpful with setting up or recording everything, the board meetings, the meeting minutes, and resolutions, and all of that. She's been amazing in capturing all of that information, and she's also helped us put together our corporate record book. When we started our company, we got this huge record book, and we didn't know what to do with it, so we just put it up on the shelf and never looked at it. So Debbie was the one who helped us fill those all those papers out. She explained the process. She helped us with the signatures and everything, the membership certificates. There was so much to take care of that we had never gotten to, and it was great, and it was such a relief in the end to have all of that in place, and it gave us a sense of, you know, satisfaction that that the protection now exists.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Can I just say, no matter where I go, somebody will say that exact same testimonial, but they'll say, Galena or Rich or, one of the other people in that department, or Debbie. Debbie's awesome. All of them are awesome. Every year, all the cookies and candy and stuff that comes in at Christmas time is always to them. The whole office has to go over to that department if they want to score some cookies or something, because they have such deep relationships with the clients, and so the clients, feel connected and want to do something right. Guys, you will never regret getting the stuff properly organized and in place. You'll never regret it.
Right.
It's so inexpensive, and it's. I'll tell you, if you don't do it, there's a good chance you will come back to us later, what I call event-driven. In other words, you had a horrible event, you got your clock cleaned, and you're saying, I can never allow that to happen to me again. And then you'll do it. But it's so much better to do it in advance of the storm than after the storm. And so I hope everybody will avail themselves of this offer, which included the Freedom Calls, which is usually $500. So corpveilprotection.com or 775-883-8484. Yes,
and I did actually put that in the chat box for everyone, so they have that number showing up on it. And also, when we wanted, and the free consultation that you mentioned, we've availed that also, and it was wonderful. I think we spoke to Randy Reese, and we were unsure if we wanted to set up an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corp. And I think we had almost an hour-long conversation with Randy about this, and he was able to go through each of the, he asked us specific questions about the company, where we want to go with it, and he was very helpful in bringing all that information together and helping us come up with a plan for the company. And I would highly recommend everyone to avail of that offer also, to set up the new company and get the corporate whale protection for the new company also. Aaron, I think you may have muted yourself somehow. Let me put you back on. All right. I still can't hear you for some reason. So when you stopped the screen share, you probably got disconnected from the audio for some reason. But I can still see you. Oh, yeah, you're back.
Did that help? I just have shared screen.
Yep, you're back.
Yeah, so the consultants are all good. The whole team is good. There's a reason we've been a leader at this for 46 years. And so I really encourage people to thank you for the nice endorsement. We're grateful for you trusting us with your business. And you know, nobody ever asks for refunds or anything. Once you get this, you're just going to feel better. So just call up and ask questions, or go to courtvale.com, courtvaleprotection.com, and sign up. And we'll be with you. We'll be working with you for a long time. It'll be a great relationship. So with that, is there anything else we need to go over now?
No, I think we're all set for now. We have the phone number here, so if anybody has any more questions for Aaron, feel free to call the number listed here. That was 775-883-8484.
Perfect.
All right, great. Thank you so much for your time, Aaron. Really appreciate you coming here and talking to our folks here.
It's an absolute pleasure.